It is now my honor to invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Bittu Sahgal, editor of Sanctuary Asia and founder of Sanctuary Foundation. A lifelong conservationist and storyteller, Mr. Sahgal has dedicated his life to protecting India's wildlife and ecosystem. Mr. Bittu Sahgal, please join us.
Thank you very much. This is my family. So here is the reality of what wildlife tourism was. And you can see from the color of my hair, I'm not going to talk about yesterday. I'm talking about 1975, 76, soon after Project Tiger was declared. At that point, everybody made a beeline for Africa. Everybody made a beeline for Africa. And we mustn't forget Kailash Sankla. He had chosen 9 places, not because they had the most tigers, because there were tigers potentially there, but they were different biogeographic zones. So you had the Sundarbans, you had Arunachal, you had Ranthambore, where it was a big opposition to Ranthambore. अरे वहाँ टाइगर ही नहीं है, क्या कर रहे हैं अभी, वहाँ देखो कितने टाइगर हैं. So he wanted central India, he wanted this, so and so forth. And that really is not just the core of what Project Tiger started doing. That should now become, again, the core of what we are all sitting here to do. Like the diversity of a forest, you don't want to go and see the same thing time and time again, just in a different place. That tiger is not an animal. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for nature. And within that ambit of the umbrella of the tiger, this was old. This was something that was taught to me by the likes of Fateh Singh and by the likes of so many of these people who are not here. The diversity of tiger reserves is such that at that point we said this should become a tourism magnet. We had more to show in India then, and we still have, than a country like Switzerland whose tourism income is higher than ours. Why should that be? Now, if we fast forward from there, I got Valmik's picture there for a very specific purpose. It's true. There was Valmik, there was myself, there was Fateh. Once in a while there would be a few other people coming down, and our biggest celebration was that we used to say ki tiger burning bright in the forests of the night. We searched through grass, we searched through matti, all we found was tiger tatti. You know? When we found a little piece of tiger dropping, Fateh Singh said, "Arey tiger hai yahan yaar, kyun kai ko itna ghabrate ho?" You know. So from those days, two wonderful things that used to happen. You know, there was this train. Toby, what's that train that has all the foreigners come onto that train? So Palace on Wheels, is that right? All right. So the Palace on Wheels stops at Sawai Madhopur, beautiful little station, and we, Fateh Singh, myself, and this man over here, rowing around, going all over the place. उस टाइम पाड़े बांधते थे to do census, you know. तो 30 पाड़े बांधे हुए हैं. तो जब हम सुबह उठे, मतलब कि जीप के पीछे झाड़ी है. So they wiped off all the old tiger pug marks and said, आज तो मेला होने वाला है. 30 पाड़े बांधे हुए, एक भी पाड़ा नहीं मारा गया वहाँ. तो Fateh Singh and myself and Valmik, we were sitting over there, गम खा रहे थे. ये क्या है, ये क्या हो, क्या गया, टाइगर है लेकिन क्यों नहीं दिख रहा है. तो 1 बजे मैसेज आया कि ये पैलेस ऑन व्हील्स के एक बस आ रही है, तो यहाँ ज़रा उनको दिखा दो, जंगल दिखा दो, टाइगर न देखे. So they just went out of Jogi Mahal, turned left on that big gate over there, and there on the lake there was a tigress with a cub. They came back and said, we saw, they had only 25 minutes in the park. तो हम लोग 1 हफ्ते के लिए घूम रहे हैं. So the basic thing was, then Fateh Singh himself said कि भाई देखो, all we have to do is to protect this area and things will come back. The water will come back, the frogs will come back. This was not Fateh Singh actually, it was Fateh Singh and it was Kailash Sankla speaking and Valmik speaking. Everything will come back. Once these things come back, the tiger will not come back to an empty home. The tiger will come back when there are deer. So the message that I would like to suggest to us all right now is this. Like the diversity of a forest, we need diverse tourism experiences. There's no point saying, like today, quite honestly, I haven't stepped foot in many of the tiger reserves that I loved, that I was part of helping to make them happen, because I cannot see 40 jeeps hanging around a tiger. That's not tiger tourism. There's no emotional connect there. It's a question of taking a picture. But it gives us, every problem gives us an opportunity. So, Julian, you'd spoken about the fact that we need to get communities involved. In 2013, we came up with the idea of community-owned, community-operated nature conservancies, cocoon conservancies. It never quite took off the way we wanted for communities, because the money wasn't there to invest into the communities, that if you don't farm, then you'll still earn. But now, today, if you look at what's happening, I can tell you that the tourism industry is going to have to adapt itself to the manner in which the climate crisis is going to decide that it will send its largesse to us. Sometimes too much water, sometimes too little water, sometimes too early water, sometimes too late water. And the reason I'm saying this is, I don't know what your guests say, but the tourism that we see happening right now, nobody with an income of something like 20,000 rupees or 30,000 rupees a month can get into a tiger reserve and actually get a jeep and go in, which used to happen. What we need to do now is we need to improve the tiger experience, the wildlife experience, and that wildlife experience will not happen inside our tiger reserves. It's going to take too long. I would say it should take place the next 2-3 years, and there are 3 or 4 things that come together that will turn India's tourism, all of you here, into what at one time we used to call them wildlife biologists. Now you call them conservation biologists. So I would like to see conservation tourism operators, tourism promoters, lodge owners as conservationists. They need to be perceived that, because the brand equity goes up and you actually do some good. Here is the bottom line on tiger tourism. I want to take you back a few years. I'm not taking any names. The people who I speak about will know who they are. We were set up to make a tourism policy for India. We had the Secretary retired tourism with us. We had all the people. We called people from the human rights side, everywhere. We came up with the whole idea of how tourism should be done, with experiences but shared with the community. Now, what we had said at that point was that, like rotational grazing that we suggest for cattle, we said that tiger reserves must be managed by the manager, by the field directors of those tiger reserves, not by somebody sitting in Delhi or Bombay or giving advice from far away. So we said that 20% of every tiger reserve must be kept inviolate. But that 20% didn't have to be the same 20%. We said it depends upon, the field director will know that you have this area, nobody can go in because there's a tigress here, she's got cubs there and we don't want to disturb them and we want them to have food, etc. And it might be this place once, it might be Anathpura once, it might be somewhere else once. I don't know how it happened, but within the bureaucracy that 80% tourists can go anywhere and 20% must be kept rotational tourism got changed, ulta ho gaya. That you can only go in 20% and 80% is completely off limits. Now what happened over there? What happened over there is what you see now. 40 jeeps, 30 jeeps in 20% of the area, often the best area. The best parts, because that's where the tigers would come, there would be water, there would be cubs. I would like to see the tourism industry assert itself. Defend the fact that tourism is actually a conservation tool. Exactly why I wanted Valmik's face there. It is a conservation tool, but it will not happen like you will be given it on a platter, ki bhai ye lo, now it's a conservation tool, you do what you like. You will have to be part and parcel of that brigade of people that create different experiences that allow tourism to help with rewilding. That rewilding will not necessary inside the tiger reserve. Human beings are amongst the worst tree planters of all species on earth. We put too many trees of one thing in one place, in the wrong place at the wrong time. But the butterflies, the birds, the monkeys, the elephants, these are the ones that created everything. And where will it happen? I'm now talking, let's say, Ranthambore. But I want you to know what happened in Ranthambore. In 2004, the villagers on the outside got together as usual and they got pesticides, seeds, fertilizer, put them in, borrowed money, put it in. It never rained. 20 days went, 30 days went, it never rained. It was completely wasted. There was no water. Not for everyone, but those who depended upon rainwater. Then something like about 15 to 20 days after that, a sprinkle of water started. तो फिर उन्होंने seeds, fertilizer, ये वो borrow करा के वहीं डाल दिया, put them there. Now when the plants began to come up outside the tiger reserve I'm talking right now, a biblical flood came and it washed everything away. So within 7 months they lost 2 years of debt. They had gathered 2 years of debt. Somehow they survived. Some people, we had some incidents of tigers being killed. Obviously people were being shown how to come in on the periphery. 2025 now. Money was borrowed, pesticide, fertilizer, karake, they put them in. Within 10 days time, Rajasthan got the flood that it had never seen in its entire life before. 3 years of debt. Now the people living around Ranthambore, now if you were living around Ranthambore, tell me, if the farm does not give you food, where will you, which place will you look to exploit in order to feed your child? It will be back to where we were when Fateh Singh was around. When Fateh Singh was nearly killed because there were human rights abuses. There was no doubt about it. People were moved out. Now people don't have to be moved out. What we have to do is to make sure that the experiences that you cannot give them inside the park because of the rules, and the rules are necessary like that, we need to rewild the outside sufficiently in places where the farming is no longer attractive and bring those back slowly. Start with grasslands. It will take 5 years, 7 years, but you'll suddenly find, who was speaking about the Chambal River and the tourism potential there. I mean, we just held a photography contest and one of the pictures that won was 2 gharials, you know. I mean, people want to come, they want to come and see the tiger, but they also want avians. So I would like to suggest that bird watching, avians, teaching the people on the outside and giving them a piece of the pie is a very, very, very good idea. And this is your job to do the same way as wildlife biologists did with biology. I believe that the experiences will be good. I believe that in the process you will get known as conservationists who are fighting climate change and doing a good job for the communities. It's more complicated than that, and if Julian, if TOFT can organize it, let's get together.
Thank you, Mr. Sahgal, for that powerful and thought-provoking address. You took us back in time. Thank you so much.